Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video. We're going to have a look at the weather next week to 10 days, which is going to take us to around the 30th of June. Today, day 10 is the 30th of June. We'll extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles able to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at Beijing Climate Centre for the next 40 days as well. Today. Now, the big story of the weather is going to be the chance of a real heat spike next week. It looks like we're going to get a Spanish plume and bring some hot air up out of Spain and North Africa, pushing it northwards across western parts of Europe. The question is, how hot will it get? So we are seeing still signs of quite impressively hot upper air temperatures next week. So for a day or so, it could get really very hot indeed, although the surface temperatures, interestingly, are being limited a little bit by the GFS. But more about that as we progress through the video. You'll see what's going on when we get to that part of the video. Of course, it's all covering the Glastonbury period next week, and we're going to have a fourth update for the Glastonbury Festival for you tonight at 7 PM. Right, so you're going to start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the Penn State University. We've got the ECMWF here on the top. However, we don't have the GFS on the bottom. Look at that, it's missing. The GFS on the bottom is missing, so you just have a question mark there. Things still not running properly, I don't think, at Penn State University after the upgrade to the new version of the GFS. But we have got the ECM to work with. These are 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts, or chart, from the ECMWF for the 7 to 10 day time frame. Orange and red extrapolating to above average heights, which is high pressure, blue to below average heights, which is low pressure. This is mean flow chart for the 7 to 10 day time frame, so it can take us to around the 30th of June. See a real mess here. We've got a quite a strong blocking signal in the mid-Atlantic and going up towards Greenland and the Arctic, so there's a lot of high pressure up there. There's low pressure in over Scandinavia, quite a deep trough through there, and then we've got this ridge across central parts of Europe. It's that ridge that's going to be pumping up hot air from the south along with this little trough down to our southwest. So the western parts of Europe, we've got a trough out to the west of sort of Biscay, down to southwest of Ireland, with a ridge across central parts of Europe. That's going to be pumping up wind from the south, bringing hot air northwards, a Spanish plume. But with so much northern blocking, actually, to the north and northwest, I would suspect this is only going to be a very brief sort of heat spike, and very quickly we'll find this high pressure to our north pushing back cooler air from the north and northwest again. So, although it is going to get hotter next week, I suspect it doesn't last all that long, but it could be quite an impressively hot plume of air that we've got. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. Looking at London town today, so the red line here is a 30-year upper air temperature average for London town, and it's going to be a bit cooler over the next couple of days, going into the end of the week and the beginning of the weekend. A little bit cooler, but from around Sunday onwards, you see temperatures are on the up. They really are shooting up through the course of next week. Somewhere the ensemble mean, which is the white line, is kind of like just under 20 degrees at 850 HPA, somewhere between 15 and 20 Celsius. But there are several members of the GFS ensembles, this cluster just here, that for a time anyway, sometime around the 27th of June, taking that upper air temperature above 20 degrees at 850 HPA. We still have some of these ensemble members that are even going as high as 25 Celsius at 850 HPA. That is remarkably hot for an upper air temperature. It would be record breaking in terms of upper air temperature. I don't think we've ever recorded 25 Celsius at 850 HPA. That's a bit extreme, but it does look as though many of these ensemble members want to take temperatures anyway, upper air temperatures, to around 20 Celsius at 850 HPA through the middle of next week. That is plenty hot enough, but very quickly you'll see that the temperatures lower then and fall away quite sharply as we go into the final couple of days of June and into the first week of July, returning to a much cooler upper air temperature by then. Precipitation-wise, quite a lot of dry weather coming up over the next few days. There could be a few showers today, but really it's a drying trend through to the weekend, and then early next week, it looks like it starts to turn more unsettled again. So as the temperatures are spiking up, we also have these precipitation spikes just here, and most of that could be either heavy showers or thunderstorms. We may have a lot of convection through the course of next week. Then as temperatures lower, we keep it generally quite showery as we go through that first week of July, cooler and showery through the first week of July. Temperature anomalies from the 20th to 28th of June are going above average now. Expect these to trend hotter over the next day or so. So signs that temperature anomaly is rising to be above average in the next week. Precipitation anomalies from the 20th to 28th of June. Bit wetter than average for Ireland. It looks wet there, and perhaps around some of these western coasts of the UK. Further south and southeast, it's going drier than average. So warmer and drier is the trend, but Ireland could be turning very wet. This is how the, let's go back. So we need to go through the charts to around there. So this is how the GFS is looking for Sunday, when we're bringing up this southeasterly wind on Sunday, already turning drier and warmer with high pressure centred somewhere around Denmark. This area of low pressure is out to the west of us, so between the ridge to the east and the low pressure to the west. That's what's going to start to funnel up those southeasterly winds. Now, as we go through the course of next week, initially we look a bit thundery. So this is Monday. We've got this low pressure down to the southwest of us, and we've got some sort of trough over the UK. That could take thundery rain, maybe thunderstorms northwards from Sunday night into Monday across many parts of the country, but particularly so, I think, for more western areas. I doubt there'll be all that much in the way of thunder over in the east. But what this is doing, as it pushes northwards, this feature, is introducing hotter air from the south. Then we go through into Tuesday, and high pressure is dominating both to the north and to the east of us. Hot air is being pumped northwards out of Mediterranean into parts of Western Europe. There's the upper air temperatures. So we already have a 10 Celsius isotherm moving northwards across the UK. 15 Celsius isotherm is into southern and southeastern parts of the UK. And the 20 Celsius isotherm is across much of France. That's very hot air in terms of the upper air temperature anyway, across France. That's Wednesday. Again, high pressure is out to the northwest of us. We're bringing in these hot, very hot, potentially east or southeast winds. It all looks very slack. So there could be heavy showers and thunderstorms breaking out within this hot, humid and unstable air. But 20 Celsius isotherm, so that black line just there, is through the southeastern part of the country. So again, that's really hot upper air temperatures that are moving northwards out of France. That's Thursday. Again, high pressure is just to our north and northwest. We're bringing in these really hot east or southeasterly winds. The 25 Celsius isotherm, remarkably, is covering the whole of France. It's over the channel and just threatening to get into the southwestern tip of the country. These are really remarkable charts. Very, very rare to see the 25 Celsius isotherm covering the whole of France like that. That's a very extreme heat wave that you will think is engulfing much of France at that point. By the end of next week, it's beginning to start to turn thundery, this area of low pressure, due to the heat that's being pumped northwards out of the bed through France and into the UK, Ireland and the North Atlantic. It's fueling this area of low pressure. So thundery breakdown by Friday as that low pressure gets closer to us. There's all the hot air across the country, but you see it is beginning to turn cooler from the west as we get through into next weekend, 29th and 30th of June, obviously turning much cooler then, winds swinging to the north and the northwest, temperatures falling away. And there's the upper air temperature by Sunday, 30th of June, day 10, much cooler. Temperatures have dropped very dramatically by the time we get through to Sunday, the 30th of June. Much cooler upper air temperatures indeed. And then beyond that, we go into quite an unsettled spell of weather, actually, through the first week of July. Low pressure is heading in off the Atlantic, bringing showers, or indeed longer spells of rain. The winds are from the northwest again, coming out of Greenland, so much cooler temperatures, cool and showery, I suppose, through the first week of July. Now, the one puzzle about this is what we're seeing in terms of the service temperatures. We know that the upper air temperatures by the GFS being forecast to go very high, so pushing the 20 Celsius isotherm into England and Wales, getting just about the 25 Celsius isotherm into the English Channel. But look at the surface temperature. So this is the surface temperature, maximum temperature if you like, for Monday afternoon. It is very warm, and in the southeast it's hinting at being hot. Temperatures there probably up to around 27, 28. If you add a couple of degrees on, that could get you to around 13 central London on Monday afternoon. Otherwise very warm, temperatures mid to upper 20s Celsius. That's Tuesday. It's a bit hotter again on Tuesday, so widely across England and Wales we're seeing temperatures between around 25 and 30 degrees. It's going for a maximum in London of 30 degrees. Now add a couple of degrees on, that gets you to 32. 32 is 90 Fahrenheit, so it is hot. It's really hot indeed, but it's not excessively or extremely hot at this point. That's Wednesday. Again, sort of temperatures peaking in the southeast corner at around 32, add a couple of degrees on, you're up to 33 or 34 in central London. So that's kind of like going to low 90s Fahrenheit. However, at this point, the 20 Celsius isotherm is covering most of sort of southeastern England, with perilously close to moving 25 Celsius isotherm into the UK. So you probably expect temperatures to be a bit hotter than that. It's a little bit of a puzzle why the GFS is limiting the temperature potential for next week. This is Thursday, and we're talking about, again, around 30 degrees across much of the south, about a couple of degrees on. 32 is around 90 Fahrenheit. But this is when the 25 Celsius isotherm is over the channel and getting to far southwestern tip of the country. I thought temperature would be much more likely to be around mid-30s Celsius there. So it is a little bit of a puzzle what's going on with the service temperatures compared to the upper air temperatures through the course of next week. By Friday, temperatures are starting to drop back as that thundery breakdown begins to take place. What could explain this is that there's going to be quite a lot of cloud through the course of next week. So we may have quite a lot of cloud bubbling up, maybe with thunderstorms. Of course, rain will always have a cooling effect on the atmosphere. So if there's heavy rain falling down through the atmosphere via thunderstorms, then that will cool the atmosphere to some degree, and cool the temperature to some degree. So that could be one thing that's going on. Something else that could be going on is that it's picking up on breezes, sea breezes, limiting the temperature potential. The other alternative is that it is sort of just underestimating, classic case of GFS underestimating the temperatures, and they will be several degrees hotter than this through the course of next week. We should wait and see. It's still early days, but certainly very, very interesting charts at the moment for next week. This is for GEM. Again, we've got the southeast winds bringing warmer, drier conditions over the weekend. Early next week, probably a band of heavy rain or thunderstorms moving northwards. And then through the rest of next week, well, we do get this push of really hot air out of the Mediterranean and North Africa, but it's a little bit further east compared to where the GFS has it. So that's how the upper air temperatures being forecast by the GEM for Wednesday. You'll notice most of the hottest of the air is kind of like through Germany, and then down into Mediterranean and into North Africa. To the northwest of that, so through the UK and Ireland, yes, the temperatures are quite warm, just about bringing the 15 Celsius isotherm to the southeast corner, but nowhere near as hot as further east across France and Germany, and nowhere near as hot as what the GFS is showing at the same time frame. And it starts to turn more unsettled as well, the GEM, because we have this temperature contrast between the hot air to the east and the cooler air out to the northwest. It begins to generate low pressure, so that's starting to turn things much more unsettled through the middle part of next week and the second half of next week. By the end of next week, the GEM is turning wind into the north, so cooler air digging in from the north, cool and showery conditions taking us into the final final weekend of June. Temperatures, upper air temperatures, really looking very cool by the final day of June, with all of that excessive heat being shoved off over into the far east and southeast of Europe. So still uncertainty about the exact position of this plume, although the GFS really gives us quite a direct hit of this really hot air next week. The GM has it a lot further eastwards. This is the ECM, so again very warm, dry conditions on Sunday, and then we go through into the early part of next week. Could be a bit thundery, heavy rain moving northwards, especially at the western side on Monday. That's Tuesday. Start to draw in these very warm or hot east or southeast winds as the upper air temperatures. France looking really hot on Tuesday. 15 Celsius ice firm beginning to move into the southeast corner of England. That's Wednesday, very slack. That does look as though it will probably be producing both hot temperatures but also a chance of thunderstorms as well. 20 Celsius ice firm is just flirting with the southeast corner of England, so it's not quite pushing that 20 Celsius isotherm as far north and west as the GFS has it. Although this is still hot, it's still enough to get temperatures probably to 30 to 32 degrees on Wednesday. That's Thursday. It looks like we're beginning to get a thundery breakdown going there. But the atmosphere looks like it's wobbling. Two sort of areas of low pressure beginning to appear. One there, one there. That could well be indicative of the atmosphere really wobbling. There's the upper air temperatures, 20 Celsius ice firm. Never quite makes it into the UK, I don't think, with the ECM. That is the position of the 20 Celsius ice firm just there. 15 Celsius ice firm is just there. This is still enough to get temperatures kind of like low 30s, but it's not exceptional. It is turning more unsettled and more thundery though, so by Friday I think we're looking at widespread storms breaking out as this trough of low pressure then begins to slink in across the country. Then we've got this huge contrast in temperatures, very hot air up through there, much cooler air coming down through there, and that could fuel heavy rain and thunder in the second half next week. That low pressure then drifts away to the east, turn winds into the north, and it becomes much cooler and fresher through that final weekend of June. That's the final day of June, Sunday 30th. Look how much cooler the upper air temperatures are by then. So still a lot of questions to answer about this heat wave, particularly in terms of the exact detail. These are the options that are on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which is Sunday the 30th of June, the last day of the month. So you have 28 members of the ECM ensembles, including the control and the operational run. Operational run is the run we're just looking at, with above average heights out to west and northwest, and below average heights, let's change colour, below average heights over to the east, and bringing down much cooler northwesterly winds by this point. So obviously those ensemble members are much cooler. They have a 23 just here with above average heights again blocking out to the northwest, below average heights in Scandinavia. The only difference is that the ridge is still relatively strong to our southeast, and so this is probably still trying to hang on to pretty hot air into the southeast, although through most of the country it would be turning cooler with winds in from the northwest. And this is the option that we have in 2 weeks time, only one. This is for the 5th of July, looking quite cool and unsettled, above average heights out to the northwest, below average heights to the northeast, and bring in like quite a cool west-northwest or possibly even slightly northerly type flow. So again, good agreement through the ECM ensembles that the early part of July, the first week of July, is turning a lot cooler and even more unsettled too. Finally, just have a look at Beijing Climate Centre for the next 40 days. So these are 500 millimetre heights broken down into 10-day periods. The first 10-day period will take us from the 21st to the 30th of June. The coming 10 days, therefore, has above average heights over and to the east of the country with below average heights out to west-southwest, drawing up those very warm or even really hot southerly southeasterly winds, so heat wave potential in the final 10 days of June. The next 10 days is the first 10 days of July, the 1st to the 10th of July, with some below average heights to our south and in the mid part of the Atlantic and up towards Greenland. And also a little bit cooler and a little bit more unsettled there. The jet stream is dipping southwards to some degree. The next 10-day period is the 11th to the 20th of June, above average heights again in the middle of the Atlantic and up to our northeast, below average heights to our south. That could be warmer, I think, potentially thundery again. So warmer, thundery there, perhaps in the middle part of July. And then finally, we go through to the final 10-day period, which is the 21st to the 30th of July. And we look cool and unsettled there. Below average heights up to the north, bringing in a west-northwesterly flow. So rather cool and unsettled for the final days of July. I don't think we'll worry too much about that at this stage. So heat wave potential for next week, most definitely. Few things to keep an eye on. One is where the main core of the plume is going, because there is still disagreement about that, but it does look as though that plume is going to be affecting western parts of Europe, so particularly the southern and southeastern parts of the UK. We could get some very impressively high upper air temperatures. I still don't think they'll go to 25 Celsius at 858 kPa. I would be very, very surprised if the upper air temperatures got that hot. But it does look as though the 20 Celsius ice firm will be flirting with the southeast corner. So that's really hot. That's a really hot upper air temperature. The other question is how high will the surface temperatures go? They don't look that impressive from the GFS. Maximum temperature forecast, sort of going to low 30s Celsius, but it could be a classic case that they're undercooking those temperatures, so they may get hotter and more extreme as we get through towards next week. And then the third question, of course, is how long will it go on for, and how much in the way of showers and storms will there be? And that's something we won't know until much closer to the time frame. But of course, that does affect Glastonbury, because although we are seeing this heat wave potential for next week, if there's a lot of thunder, given that it's already been very wet and is still wet underfoot at Glastonbury, it could all turn into a very unpleasant quagmire down there, unfortunately, despite the fact temperatures could be impressively hot. So there's going to be a lot to keep an eye on over the next few days with this heatwave potential for next week. But certainly the summer of 2019 looks like it's going up 2 or 3 gears next week. Right, we'll be back later on with the fourth update for the Glastonbury Festival. Tomorrow we've got JMA Friday and a week to 10-day video update as well, so come back for that. Then, that's all for now though, and thanks for watching.